Hello, everyone. In his second beatitude in Matthew 5:4, Jesus says, "Happy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." At first, it sounds like an oxymoron. Happy are those who mourn? How can you be happy while you're mourning? It almost sounds like you have to be a masochist, someone who enjoys pain and suffering. But that's not what it means. It means happy are those who mourn because they will be comforted. It's in mourning, it's in grieving that we find God's comfort. If you hold in your feelings, then you won't receive the comfort. If you admit the feelings, then you will be comforted and you will have that internal happiness that you need, even when you go through the valley of the shadow of death, even when you go through times of grief and mourning and sorrow. You and I have had times in our lives when we have lost someone or something, and it has caused us grief. Something would be a job or an opportunity that's lost, and we mourn over that. Someone, it could be a relative, it could be a friend who has passed away, and we mourn the fact that they're gone. Personally, through my life, I have mourned the passing of many very close relatives, starting with my great grandmother, all four grandparents, both my parents, my sister, three aunts, three uncles, a second cousin, all my great uncles and great aunts. And on top of that, I have mourned the loss of many, many dear friends over the years and decades. And what I have discovered is when I admitted to myself that I was sad, that I was sorrowful, that I was feeling down, it's then that God's comfort came to me. But whenever I felt that I'm a tough guy and I can get through this and I can simply just push it aside, then the comfort didn't come. Mourning is different for each person. Some people mourn openly and they weep easily, and some people don't cry so much in public. And everybody is different, everybody's unique in that way. But we all need to mourn. That is, we all need to admit to ourselves, at least, when we are going through a time of grief, losing someone or losing something, that we're feeling down, that we're feeling sorrowful, that we're feeling sad. And when we admit that, at least to ourselves, then the process of healing can happen. The comfort we can feel and experience from God, instead of us putting up a barrier, almost like a force field of saying, I'm a tough guy or I'm a tough gal and I don't need to admit any weakness. Well, believe me, it's not weakness to admit to yourself that you are mourning, you are grieving, that you are sorrowful. Remember, the shortest verse in the Bible simply says Jesus wept. And he didn't do it privately off in a corner somewhere. He did it publicly in front of everybody. So if he could do that, then we can do that as well. To admit that we need God's comfort and we need to know that we can let it out instead of keeping it in. There's a hymn that you may be familiar with. It's called The Lily of the Valley. And it's a very cheerful hymn, fun to sing. But some of the words, especially in the first verse and going to the end of that verse, talk about our need to live out Matthew 5:4. That is, happy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Listen again to these words from that hymn. In sorrow, he's my comfort. In trouble, he's my stay. He tells me every care on him to roll. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. Amen.